Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram.
Can you read the translation?
Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be.
Yeah. So I have done till some point and continue from there. So yes, from here we'll read. This we read, I think, right? Archamurti we did. Correct,
Mm,
we did this. Now the last only, last paragraph is remaining. So you can read, De Prabhu. There are
Yeah,
also.
yeah. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere and he is not in the temple or in deity, is he
Hmm.
not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalists and the impersonalists will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is Golaka Vrindavana and he is always staying there, by his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation.
Yeah. So there are many impersonalists who deride temple worship, he's saying. And I have seen there are particular sect, Ar Samaji, Ar Samaj. So they say themselves Ar Samaj, but actually they deride temple worship. They will say deity worship is not bona fide and all. I mean, not bona fide. They just defy the deity worship and all. So Prabhupada is a poor fund of knowledge. They don't understand the science of deity actually. That's the first thing. And second thing is Prabhupada also gave argument. If God is everywhere, then why is he not in temple? What is the problem? And when you come in the temple, then you can have, you can actually, it's a place for experiencing Krishna more, experiencing God more. Just like when you have to study, you preferably you may go to library. When you may have to, play sports and all, preferably you may have to go to some stadium or something like that, right? Where you can have more facilities and environment of accordingly. So even in basic sense also, what is the problem in going to temple? Like, you have more access to people who are God conscious in the temple. So when why should we restrict? Why should one restrict himself to temple worship? They say that God is everywhere. Then why not God is there in temple also? Temple also God is there. If God is everywhere, He is not in the temple or in the deity. That is the argument, like that. Now for ourselves, yes, God is everywhere, and He is a deity. Somebody may say, okay, then I will worship the floor. I'll just worship the table. I'll just worship the my bottle, because God is everywhere. So we are not like impersonalists, who have a very vague understanding of God is everywhere, and they have and they are not clear about what way to worship the Lord. Then they simply try to have some kind of vague understanding of impersonal, is ultimate, and then their worship also has no much meaning then, because they simply want to just merge with that impersonal Brahman. And in fact, many of times they think that they are only God and they will become one with that God. That's what they think. So their worship has no meaning actually in that sense, right? And also there are people, those who worship, just anything. Like even for them, they say they just select this. They have this panchopasana and all that stuff. So you worship this demigod, sun god, Ganesha, like that. They have some five, and then later you and they think that that is just to help you understand that you are Narayana only, or you are like liberated. That way you get liberated. That way. And then you don't need that. That's what they think. So and there are people who worship anything, also. So the point is that it's all varieties of misconceptions, in percentage, because they don't have clarity about who is the Supreme Lord, what is the personality of Godhead, because they have no understanding of it. Then so many varieties of ideas have come. And percentages also have many, many shades, many concoctions are there. So that's why it is important to understand the science of Krishna and science of deity from the scriptures. So yeah, God is everywhere, and God is there in the deity also. But deity is not just like okay, deity and table and the bottle is same. because Lord can appear himself, as per his sweet free will, to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. And Lord is telling that in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the scriptures, that this is how he manifests himself. Just like Lord manifests himself, he descends himself in his names. Correct? The Lord can choose to descend in his name. Why not? And the same way, Lord can choose to descend himself in deity. Why not? He can. Just like government of India can, empower a particular type of paper to be used as a currency note. So that is government of India's, free will. Tomorrow, government of India says, no, this all currency notes, I won't, give any kind of authority on it. We will only use metal coins. That will be the only currency. So then all those paper things will become useless. It will become garbage actually, like that. The same way, Lord has chosen himself to come in the form of deity. So that's why we worship the deity. We are not like concocting our own ways to worship the deity. So that impersonalists cannot understand. So deity worship is recommended in the scriptures itself. It is as per the Shastra, first thing. Second thing is, there are specific ways how the deity should be installed. Everything is mentioned, and we follow is called Prana Pratishtha. So when we do that, then that form is a bona fide form of the Lord to be worshipped, and by that devotees actually make advancement. Because so Prabhupada says it is a spiritual form of the Lord visible to materialize, like that, because you cannot access spiritual form of the Lord in your conditioned state. So Lord mercifully he descends himself in the form of deity. So sometimes some deity would ask, Prabhupada, this deity, is within deity there is Krishna? Prabhupada says, no, the deity itself is Krishna. The deity himself is Krishna. There is no like within deity there is Krishna. Deity is Krishna. So that understanding should be very clear. So yes, God is everywhere. He is in the temple also. He is in the deity also. Yeah, as like this is an argument of impersonalists only. Prabhupada is saying, but at the same time we have understanding. Yes, God is everywhere. He is the deity. So, but it is not like the deity is same as my pen or your table. It's not like that. So yes, there is God in table and pen also. Because through his energies, God is there pervading, and also in the form of Paramatma, is there within every atom also. But we don't worship table and pen. That is not recommended. It's not recommended worship. You worship the Lord only through deities, like that. So Gaurang Prabhu says one example, like water is everywhere, but you cannot drink water anywhere like this in air. You have to go to a tap. There the water is accessible. Water, has made itself accessible through that particular tap. You go there and you get the water. It's a bona fide way of accessing the water, actually, truly. Same way, in our conditioned state, we can access the Lord, with faith and devotion through deities, the holy name. We can access. Lord has made himself available there, like that. So you cannot barge in God as per your whims. Yes, God is there, but he is aloof also, as he says. He's there in every atom. He is there through his energies everywhere. But he has made himself, he can be aloof also, right? But he is making himself available in the form of deity, even for the conditioned souls. So we have to know the signs of Krishna, from scriptures. We cannot concoct our ways. So although the person is impossible will fight with one another perpetually, a perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, he is all pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is Golok Vrindavan, and he is always staying there by different manifestations of energy and his energy expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. You see. So yes, Lord is there everywhere. Though he is personally there in abode, like Golok Vrindavan, but he's always staying there. But by his different manifestations of energy, as I said, and also as Paramatma, by his planetary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. He is there. So Krishna, so devotee understands the presence of the Lord everywhere. And as devotee becomes more advanced in his Krishna consciousness by worshipping the deity, by chanting of the names, then Lord becomes more and more accessible to him. Like that, that's why he says, Sthavara Jangam Dekhi Na Dekhi Taramurti Sarvatra. What is that? Sarvatra Dekhi Ishtadeva Spurti, something like that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'll just share the screen. You can see, I have shown this verse before also, but still. Power. This one. Savarajangam dekhe na dekhe taramurti sarvatra haya nija ishtadeva spurti. Although he sees trees, mountains, and other living entities moving here and there, he sees all as the creation of the Supreme Lord. And in reference to the context, he is only the creator and not the creator. Because he has love for the Lord, that's why the vision of the Lord is never lost to that devotee. So otherwise, he does no longer distinguishes between the created and the creator. He sees only the Supreme God in everything. He sees Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. This is one. This is another, because of his love for the Lord. Just like a mother, she will, as soon as she sees any toy or any thing connected to the child, immediately she'll remember the child. So she's always with child that way. And because Lord is absolute in nature, as soon as you're remembering Krishna, you are thinking of Krishna, you are with Krishna. That is another point actually. In the case of mother, she literally not with the child. She is just remembering the child when the child toy she sees because of love. But when we have love for the Lord, when you're thinking of the Lord, Lord is there. Because Lord is absolute. So as soon as you think of the Lord, you are remembering the Lord is very much with you. So this is how a devotee is always with the Lord. The Lord becomes very accessible to devotee. He's always revealing himself more and more, not only in the form of deity, but otherwise also Lord is always presenting himself to the devotee. But yes, the deity form of the Lord is the bona fide form of the Lord, which is given in the scriptures, and in the conditioned state also Jiva can actually serve the Lord and reciprocate, and deities can reciprocate actually. And we can offer prayers, and we can take benefit of serving the Lord in our conditioned state also. So this is how we end here today, this big purport. So any comment or any question anybody has, any reflection, please? Yes. Any reflection? Quickly, one reflection, please. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
My,
Krishna.
my reflection is worshiping the Lord in the deity form is a bona fide method of worshiping the Lord and thinking about the Lord, and other methods that impersonalists may use or they may try to deride are not the bona fide or approved methods of worshiping the Lord. And I like the fact that you said the Lord is everywhere and in everything, but that doesn't mean that those objects are bona fide objects to worship. There are certain protocols to follow in terms of worshiping the Lord, and they should be followed, because many people, in my experience, have said, "Oh, we don't need to go to the temple because the Lord is everywhere, so I can just worship Him from home or whilst I'm in the car." And today's class was an example of what can be said to them.
I
That was
worship
my
my dog.
reflection.
I worship my dog. That's all. That's why I'm God worship.
Right.
Anything people can conquer. See, mind can just conquer anything. Yes, sir. De Prabhu Srinivasan Prabhu, and yes.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. My reflection is the same, like you mentioned, spirit. The bona fide way of worshiping the Lord is through deity worship. So just like we were talking about the other day about that Virat Rupam. So when Krishna showed the Virat Rupam to Arjuna, even though Arjuna was like a very, very noble devotee, very elevated soul, Arjuna had to be provided with like Divya Drishti, temporarily had to provided with that Divya Drishti to see that Virat Rupam. So just similarly, like in a temple worship, you can see the spiritual energy of the Lord, or can experience the spiritual energy of the Lord through material eyes, even though we don't have the Vidishti. But as devotees become more and more elevated spiritually, he can experience the Lord even more. So that's my reflection.
Yeah, a spiritual form of the Lord. Devotees
Yeah.
can experience the spiritual form of the Lord through the deity. We can see the form of the Lord. It's a spiritual form of the Lord visible to mortal eyes. And we
Okay.
need Shastra Chakshu for that. We need the faith and love and devotion. Then we can see the deity as Lord only. So as we grow on our faith, the deity also reciprocates more and more like that. So yes, Arjuna got given this to. Actually, Arjuna was able to see Lord Krishna directly because of his very always loving. But yes, Virat Rupa, he was given that vision. So same way, when we also develop a service attitude and devotion and love, then Krishna also gives us more and more eyes to see him. That's why you don't try to see Krishna, try to serve Krishna so that Krishna wants to see you. So you get that prema chakshu. Then you're able to see everything very clearly. So the deity will not be just deity. We will see directly Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. Pratima Tumi Nahi Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. That happens as you make advancement in Krishna consciousness. And as I said, when you develop that love, then you're just not lost. You're not lost to Krishna's vision only. So you're always seeing Krishna that way. And of course, with deity, the deity, whenever deity is there, then you directly see this Krishna directly also. Yes, Srinivasan Prabhu. Haribol, you're there, Srinivasan Prabhu? Srinivasan Prabhu, you're there? Hare Krishna. Unamata, you want to share anything?
Yeah, just when we go to the temple and do the darshan of deity, actually, God also see us. So and shower of His mercy upon us. So we start loving Him, hearing about Him more, chanting. So we develop more love with Krishna, and we just do the more purify ourselves to hearing and chanting about the Krishna and start loving and remember all the time to Krishna. So we have to go to the temple, just do the darshan of deity that inspire us to remember him all the time.
Srinivasan Prabhu, you want to say anything? I think he's busy with something. Okay, we'll pause here then. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, God Bhakti ki jai, God Dev Prabhu, you're planning to come today?
Yeah, Prabhu, I'm not sure because I have like a submission coming up.